Happy hump day, everybody! It's Wednesday! But if you live in New England, it kind of feels like a Monday because we had snow days the past 2 days, so I have no idea what day it is, what time it is. My squirrels are crazy! Okay, so you know that I always talk about stuff that comes up often, and I wanted to do one today that comes up probably daily. It's probably the thing that I get the most amount of questions about. It is natural and logical consequences. So parents spend a lot of their time trying to figure out what thing, and teachers, what thing is going to impact kids the most. They want to figure out, what can I take away from the kid so he learns the lesson? Right? That's how recess sorry. That's how recess gets taken away. That's how I have a lot of parents who take their that's how video games get taken away, or like their best stuffy or best thing and it gets put up on the refrigerator. But there are certain temperaments and certain kids that then they just look up at the fridge like, that's dead to me, I don't care. That's where timeouts come from. We're trying to think, what can I do? Hopefully, not hit them, of course, right? That is the fastest strategy, right? Because then they listen out of fear, right? But we don't do that one, ever. Teachers or parents, never. So we have to go to love. So when you're looking at rewards and punishment, and that's the fear side, and you're trying to go to love, that is natural and logical consequences. It is the thing I get the most amount of questions on, because they're really hard when you start here and your child's emotions go up here and you meet their emotion here. It's really hard to be logical. You can as an adult because you have had a lot of practice. It is really hard for a child because they don't have a lot of practice. It is easier for the adult, but your brain can't be emotional and logical at the same time. It could be one or the other. So if you're both up here at emotion, now your logical brain is right. It's in the nights. The lights have been off and it's taken a snooze. And it can't think, what should I do? What should I do? And right, that's where yelling comes from. That's where all these punishment and reward things come from, because I'm trying to get this to happen fast, right? In the 1980s, we took away physical punishment and we put in, unfortunately, emotional punishment, which is like clip down systems and behavior charts and all that stuff. And now, 30-something years later, those have not worked. I don't know why we're still doing them, but that's why I do these every week or 2 times, 3 times a week, because those are not good strategies anymore. We need natural and logical consequences. So strong-willed children, that temperament, and many other children, but that one especially, natural consequences work best. So, I'm not eating dinner. Well, what's a natural consequence to not eating dinner? You're hungry. I'm not wearing a coat, right? Then you're going to be cold, right? A lot of parents, stop. I hear this all the time, parents and teachers. If you don't wear a coat, you're going to catch a cold. That is not true. It's not true. It's not even 1% true. It's not true. You are cold. You don't catch a cold unless your coat had barriers for germs. Then you should probably patent that, because you're going to make $1 billion. Otherwise, if you don't have the patent pending coat, going outside and being cold doesn't mean you catch a cold. But if you go outside and you are cold long enough, you're probably going to bring your coat out next time. It is hard for adults not to step in when something minor will happen. When something major will happen, like, I'm going to cross the street by myself. Yeah, well, you could get hit by a car, and that I'm not going to allow that to happen. This is where logical consequences come in, right? When there's some sort of safety issue with a natural consequence, you're going to go to a logical consequence. And logical consequences are not, if you don't do your homework, you don't get to play a video game. Those are not related. They can be related if you're doing the video games because you're not doing your homework. But if video games is not in the way of your homework and you're just not doing the homework because of whatever reason, video games is a thing that gets taken away a lot, right? With this technology age we have now. So logical consequences need to be three things: related, respectful, and reasonable. And they don't need to happen right away. The logical consequence to my son being rude and sassy, wonder where he gets that from. Being rude and sassy is me. My feelings are hurt and I feel mad, but he's not going to see that right away. When's he going to see it? He's rude and sassy to me, and then he's like, Mommy, you want to go outside and play? Right? The related consequence is when you have a mad mommy, she doesn't want to go outside and play with you. Just like in real life, if I'm mad at somebody, I'm not hanging out with them. Right? And you can't be mad for 4 days, but you could be mad for a little bit of time. And my son knows. He knows now to like see my face and hear my words. And he'll go, oh, you're still mad at me, huh, Mommy? And I was like, yeah, but I'm trying. But when you said that, it made me mad, and I'm having a hard time keeping it in and getting over it. So I need a couple minutes. And he'll be like, okay, Mommy. That's how I know the consequence worked. I get to be mad for a little bit, right? So it's related. You said something, it hurt my feelings. I don't want to hang out with you when you're mean to me. That's related. Respectful. I didn't yell at him. I let him know how I was feeling. I told him I needed a couple minutes and that I would check back in. Right? I didn't go up here. And then he was like, whoa, what happened? And reasonable. If there is a spectrum of 0 to 100, where 0 is nothing and 100 is a felony, whining is like a 3. Know what your hot buttons are. Because whining might feel like 1,000 because it drives you crazy. You know what I found out drives me crazy? Repetitive loud noises. I was in Goodwill the other day because I like to shop there. And there was one of those games that you bang with the hammer and the little bell dings like you get at a fair or carnival. And he kept banging it over and over and over. And I was like, my emotions were going like this. But luckily, because of what I do, I was able to keep them in. My son looks at me and goes, Mommy, we need to leave this aisle. And I'm thinking, where is his family? Why is nobody making him be quiet? But I was able to keep it in. And I knew that a reasonable logical consequence was not something I was able to do right then. So I had to walk away. Because I was at like 4 billion on that spectrum of 0 to 100. Because I was just like, oh my gosh, why is he not stopping? He kept going over and over and over and over. And I was like, oh, my hot button is repetitive, loud noises. And I got crazy. And I had to I gave myself a headache. I had to go to, Goodwill's my happy place. It was so sad. So let's move from, right, fear, which are those rewards and punishments, and move into love, which is natural and logical consequences. Hope you guys enjoyed the video, and I'll be back later. Bye!